All right, let's jump right in. We're about to talk about a moment in ancient history that wasn't just an ending, it was a complete and total reinvention. An event so devastating, it forced an entire people to rethink everything about who they were. And in doing so, well, they pretty much changed the course of world history forever.
So this question, this is really the heart of the whole story. Seriously, just think about it for a second. Imagine everything that makes you who you are, your home, your nation, your most sacred places, all of it just gone, wiped off the map. What's left? The answer to that is what makes the Babylonian exile so incredible. It's a story all about the power of an idea over a physical place.
Okay, so to really get a grip on this catastrophe, we need to set the scene. We're in the late 7th century BCE. The small kingdom of Judah is, to put it mildly, caught between a rock and a hard place. Except the rock and the hard place are these massive, warring superpowers. A very dangerous game to be playing. For years, Judah tried its best to play these empires against each other. But as you can see here, things went south and fast. In 605 BCE, the new kid on the block, Babylon, crushes Egypt and becomes the new top dog. So Judah rebels. Bad move. This leads to a first surgical deportation of their leadership in 597 BCE. You could call it a warning shot. But they rebelled again. And this time, the Babylonians decided they were going to solve this problem once and for all. That leads us to the final, total destruction in 586 BCE.
And this brings us to the moment where everything just shatters. We have to be clear, this wasn't just a lost war. For the people of Judah, it was literally the end of the world as they knew it.
586 BCE. If you remember one single date from this whole explainer, please make it this one. This is the year, it's the absolute turning point, the ground zero for this entire story.
After a long, brutal siege, the Babylonian army, led by the infamous King Nebuchadnezzar, finally breaks through the walls of Jerusalem. The city, the very heart of their kingdom, is sacked, looted, and burned to the ground. But this was the blow that was almost impossible to recover from. You have to understand, the Temple of Solomon wasn't just some big, fancy building. It was the center of their universe. It was the one place on the entire planet where they believed God actually lived. Its destruction wasn't just a tragedy. It was a deep spiritual crisis. It would be like waking up one morning and the sun has just been ripped out of the sky.
And this one verse, wow, it just perfectly captures the absolute heartbreak of the survivors. They weren't citizens anymore. They were exiles, prisoners in a foreign land, just completely haunted by the memory of a home that didn't exist anymore. The grief was overwhelming.
So what happens now? Your country is gone. Your holy city is a pile of ash. The survivors now have to figure out how to live in this strange new reality as a tiny minority community right in the heart of the massive Babylonian Empire.
And this slide just lays out the whiplash perfectly. Look at the difference here. You go from a religion centered on the temple to no temple, no sacrifices. You go from having your own king and your own land to being ruled by foreigners. Every single pillar that held up their identity was just gone. How could you still be the people of Judah when Judah itself was no more? And this whole experience gives us a super important term, diaspora. Now, people had been scattered before, of course, but the Babylonian exile really became the classic example, the archetype of a people living far from their ancestral homeland, figuring out how to hold on to who they are without a place to anchor them. Okay, and here's where the story takes an unbelievable turn. Because faced with complete and utter extinction, the exiles didn't just fade away. No. Instead, they pulled off one of the most incredible religious revolutions in all of human history. This was the terrifying question staring them in the face. And if they couldn't answer it, their entire culture would have just dissolved, melted into the background of Babylon and been lost to history. Their very survival hinged on finding a new way to exist.
So what did they do? They did something genius. They made their faith portable. You can't go to the temple? Fine. Step 1, we'll create synagogues, local places to gather, to pray, and to study. Can't offer sacrifices? Okay. Step 2, we'll focus on our sacred texts, the Torah. The book itself becomes a kind of portable temple, a temple of words. And this leads to the biggest leap of all, step 3. They had to totally rethink their idea of God. Maybe God wasn't just stuck in one building in Jerusalem. Maybe God was universal. Maybe God was with them, right there in Babylon. This was a radical idea, and it made their faith something you could take with you anywhere in the world.
This chart really nails the transformation. The whole focus of their religion shifts. It moves away from being about a specific place, the temple, and becomes about a set of shared ideas and practices, the text and the community. It becomes a religion of a people and a book. And right there, that is the birth of Judaism as we basically know it today.
And these brilliant innovations, forged in the absolute worst of times, they didn't just save one culture. They ended up creating a blueprint for resilience that would echo down through the centuries. I mean, the impact is just staggering when you think about it. This period laid the foundation for all of modern Judaism. It created this powerful concept of a people of the book, an idea that would massively influence both Christianity and Islam. And it gave the world a model for how a culture can survive and even thrive without a country to call its own. It completely changed the rules about identity and geography. So if you take away one thing, let it be this. The single greatest tragedy in their entire national history became their most creative and defining moment. By losing their physical home, they were forced to build a spiritual and intellectual one that couldn't be burned down, couldn't be conquered, one that could travel across any border and survive for thousands of years. And that kind of leaves us with this big, final question, doesn't it? What truly holds a people together? Is it a plot of land, a city with walls, or is it something else? The story of the Babylonian exile seems to suggest that while land can be lost and buildings can crumble, a powerful idea, a shared story, a common purpose, that can be way, way more resilient. It's something that challenges all of us to think about what really anchors our own identities.